Is January 7th, 2025. Again today, I had to stop and get gas, and this idiot yells out, well, Will really wanted to date that one girl that said she was one of Dave's illegitimate daughters. So he let them do all this to her. Okay, he's already confessed. December 18th, 24. I go into Walmart 62. They tape an audio everywhere. Plus, I have a police officer undercover around me for the FBI case. Okay? Two guys come in first and say they said she had charges. Someone else said it's just the drug cartel doing it. So we had someone call up to the Ravenna courthouse. There's nothing against her. And they said it is just the drug cartel. Two other guys come in, roll out how you have to turn around and look at them. Karen really didn't know who Michelle was till January or February of 19. He said, no, I made sure of it until she showed up and announced herself. She didn't know who she was. She told me she threatened her. And I told him if she threatened her, I didn't care what they did to her. And she didn't know who she was? He said, no, I made sure of it. I still never talked to her. Okay? He said, I told that one drug dealer that bet after everything he had done to her, that no one would ever want her again, to leave her alone. I found out Karen's getting remarried. I knew she had it in her. Okay? Now, where I called the FBI hotline, they had drugged me up so bad I couldn't answer the phone when he called back and it went to a voicemail. 3 days later, I made myself get up out of bed, holding my head on the front porch. What's wrong with me again? I feel drunk and I don't drink. Had to get enough air in my face to call one of my witnesses. Said they'd witness for me. Went out and bought a card, put that agent's number in it from the voicemail, dropped it off at the mall, and went up to Apostolic Church of Barberton. Paul Paymer is yelling at Dave. My God. I had an FBI agent in my office. He's right there. I walk off as he's still screaming at him in front of hundreds of people. Women walk up. He knows she's being drugged, beaten, raped. And I'm covered in bruises. Been throwing up, dizzy, almost passing out, in a severe swollen personal infection, where I thought the dirty well water was either giving me cancer or killing me just showering in it. Here it's sexual predators harm me. Okay? Under drugs. I go in and I sit down. They follow me. He knows she's being drugged, being raped, and he said he didn't care. If the strangest lie of faking you were sick and faking you got well while that family was grieving, he didn't care what they did to her. And if she was going to be mean to women, he didn't care what they did to her. And he was going to turn her over to him. Can you imagine an agent saying that? Dave comes in, let's go. It was him, the agent that told on me for calling the hotline before he talked to me. Get out in the truck. Dave threatens to kill me himself, goes for a loaded gun. I put my hand on the console. Goes to punch me in the truck. I almost jumped out on the highway. Ran from him when I got home. Okay. Next morning, rivers of tears, scared out of my mind. Called that agent back. We're on a recorded line. Tell him someone told on me. Calls me a liar. I tell him about the guy that threatened to knife me at Giant Eagle. He calls me a liar. Okay. I said, well, you tried to kidnap me before. Before I can say Terry Coverly seen him, he's like, oh, come on. Even if a church person seen him, they'd never verify it. Oh, she did. Let me record her. Want to play? The police recorded it too. Okay? He said, they'd never verify it. He said, I've met with that family in my office that lost their kid in that traffic accident. I had nothing to do with. That he should have been swearing and screaming at them like adults. So what the fuck are you involved in this for? What the fuck are you doing here? You should have talked to them like they were grown-ass adults and held them accountable for their actions. Not make fun of a drugged-up rape victim. But he thought I threatened his kid. Found out that's his kid. Officers were talking in Walmart 62 over the last week. I was in there. That one guy thought it was his kid that she threatened, so he let all this happen. And she didn't even know who she was. None of this is funny. Found out another FBI agent lied to the U.S. Marshals. We always knew the tapes before that they had drugged her and told her to say it before. And that weird with yourself, it was photoshopped a showering and washing yourself. We always knew it was photoshopped. What do you mean he told the U.S. Marshals he left her there because she's weird with herself? We already knew it was a photoshopped a washing in a shower, that she was photoshopped. What do you mean he lied to a U.S. Marshals? We already knew everything was photoshopped and drugged on her before. And the FBI getting even with her because they thought she threatened one of their kids? Is that what's going on? Oh, they were mad. It is what's going on. See, there has not been any common sense. Where the fuck where I know her kid, his kid, when I had never even laid my eyes on him until December 18th, 24. Only talked to him on the phone. Realized it was him by what he said at that church, because I didn't even see him at that church. I walked off, remember? I have never met him in person, so how the fuck would I know who his kid is? And I'll tell you what, I didn't believe that girl when she showed up in January, February 19. I'm at Faith Family Church. And I'm sitting there and church is getting ready to start. And it's one of those mega churches of like over 1,000 people in a sanctuary. Teenagers come in, they're real loud. I look back. This one girl yells out, "I'm the one that dates Dave." Well, I sort of look back. And they were calling her Michelle. And I'm like, you? I thought it was Michelle Calgill, a middle-aged, heavyset woman from his church. I thought that's who was cheating on my husband at the time with him. I thought, boy, that'd serve him right. She was mean as a snake to her first husband. So, this little teenager, I thought, you don't look 18, you don't look 100 pounds. And she's going on how she's dating my husband and pointing at me. And I'm like, you? I'm like, oh my God, it's you? And then I look back. Her clothes didn't fit her. She almost looked homeless. She had a pair of pants on that weren't even in style, were the lightest blue. And it's January the 19th. They're 4 inches above her ankle, not like capris, like they're too small of pants. Skin tight, shoes that look worn, and a shirt that made her look like a teenage prostitute. And he's 60. My husband at the time was 60. We've been married 33 years. Now, if you said he dated a snotty church woman that thought she was better than me, yeah, I could believe that one. But a teenage prostitute that looked homeless? No. I didn't believe a word out of it. She's going on how she can have anybody drugged, beat, and raped. She just has to ask those guys. I thought, and you're crazy, and you're dangerous. Okay? Think about it. Now, I didn't say a word, because I'll tell you what, most women, and I didn't even, just sat there and like, I don't believe you. And even like the cops, we all looked at Karen's face. She didn't believe a word out of that girl's mouth. No, I didn't say a word. Because I'll tell you what, if you think you're grown enough to cheat with a married man and the wife finds out, most women, if they believe you, they would have got out of their seat and it would have been a girl fight. They would have jumped him, pulled your hair, bashed your nose, face, teeth, something. They'd had to pull them apart. I didn't believe a word of it. Plus, I don't act that way anyways. They're not worth my time or drama. I mean, if you're that slutty to cheat. And then you got to think, the cops even said, is that girl even 18? Is she legal? That's what I was thinking. Are they setting her husband up to go out with a teenage prostitute? They thought she was a prostitute too at first. Is she 15, 16? One cop said I would have pegged her at 14. 14 to 16. And that's where we're going to even put it this way. Agent Mueller John, what the flying fuck? Would you be letting a 14, 16-year-old, and she better been over 16, because I'll tell you what, that girl said that she spent the night with a bunch of boys, and she had some of the boys' clothes on. And showed up in a church dress like a teenage prostitute. I'll tell you what, she better been more than 16, and you're out there letting her sleep with men? You'll go to jail for statutory rape, letting your child do that. What kind of horrible parent are you? I know it's hard being an adult, and it's hard being a parent. But when your teenagers are running with a drug cartel that are human trafficking people, and that's who that girl was with, and that's your kid. And I know they tug at your heartstrings, but dear Lord, you have to put them in a drug rehab so they don't kill them, they don't sell them, or they don't end up in jail. Because if they're living that kind of dangerous lifestyle and you didn't intervene, you're the most horrible parent in the world. And I had never laid my eyes on her till that day, and I still didn't talk to her. Didn't say a word to her. No matter what kind of shit came out of her mouth, I ignored her. She told everybody she was Agent Will's daughter at first, then retired Judge Pete, and then Mike DeWine. She's just lying. But she had originally told everybody she was Agent Will's daughter. Your baby? Why didn't you help her? It's hard making those hard decisions, but you should have put her away where she was safe and got help, instead of leaving her with animals. And you better not have if she better made sure she was over 16, because I'll tell you what, the cops didn't think she was, neither did I. That's why I didn't believe her. And you letting those animals hurt me because you thought I threatened your kid. Now, your kid's messed up in drugs, and you already know that. People that are messed up in drugs will lie, cheat, harm somebody for the next fix. You know that. So where on earth would I have ever seen your kid to threaten her? They had her lie because Dave hired the cartel to run a drug scam. So they had her go lie to you. Are you really that fucking stupid? Are you really that fucking stupid? Your drug addict daughter lie to you? Are you that fucking stupid? And it's just like them saying you're dating that Michelle and Lauren, the two blonde girls that were in the drug cartel, that were saying they were Dave's illegitimate daughters. And like that guy trying to say that, and you let them harm you for that because you were showing off. That's the oldest trick in the book. Seducing a man, to let someone be harmed or killed. How many times do you see it on the news? 2020. People seducing other men to let people get harmed or killed or to do it. It's the oldest trick in the book. And you know that. See, that's where the whole thing of it is. How pathetic are you? How pathetic are you? You made fun of a rape victim. Hmm? You told on a human trafficking victim the cartel was running a scam on. You told him you didn't care. You didn't even act like an adult or a human being. Hmm? So, and then I tell you that he tried to kidnap me before, and you tell me, oh, come on now. Even if a church person seen him, they wouldn't even verify it. I've met with that family in my office that were pulling everybody's leg, basically. Strange didn't make up that lie for 6 months after a traffic accident I had nothing to do with. I had 6 to 10 surgeries in 2.5 years. My muscles all tensed up, wouldn't relax. Like a nurse said, you had so much trauma to your front of your stomach and then your back. Your muscles ceased. Of course they did. Hmm? Went to a bunch of crackpots. They falsely diagnosed me. Swelled from my feet all the way up to my brain. Thyroid shut down. Adrenal gland. Many heart attacks, seizures. My legs are double in size, and even on an MRI report, there's even a fluid-filled cyst forming beside my knee and swelling in my lower legs. I had to go into orthopedic doctors pulling out turkey-based syringes of fluid, putting steroids in. They prescribed canes and braces because my knees would pop out of place. And when they told me I had level 2 brain tumors, pituitary tumors, needed my pituitary gland removed. Before I let them cut my brain, I go to Altman Family Physicians. They're like, whoa. Only thing's wrong with you is your muscles locked up from all those surgeries. They are known for lying, falsely diagnosing people, ripping them off, making them so sick that they do unnecessary procedures. They get kickbacks from the drug companies. You need to get an attorney and sue them. Turn them out of state to pull their license. You're not the first one, and you're not the only one they've done this to. It's immoral and unethical. Encouraged Dave and I to sue him for 2 years. Now, I started with Dr. Eli in November 2002. Put me on fentanyl patches. Your muscles are locked so tight. I got to get you out enough pain to move them. As you move them, blood flow will get pushed into it. They'll relax. Okay? And as they relax, blood flow gets into them, we can build new muscle tissue, and then you'll be fine. Okay? So he started me on fentanyl patches and muscle relaxers. Started in November 2002. Size 24. I was so huge. By April, I'm a 16. I'm almost well. May 3rd, 2003. Brian, we had all the kids stay home. We were replacing carpets in the different rooms. Okay? There was a church baseball game. Brian showed up. I want to tell you Phil and Tyler are dead. And we're like, what? And they said, with the church baseball game, he was one of the league hearts. He didn't even try to stop. Didn't even try. People behind him couldn't even believe he didn't even try to stop. Flew right through a stop sign into a semi, killed them both. Okay? Come July, I finished getting well. 9 months. Come November of 2003, 6 months after a traffic accident I had nothing to do with, my sister Linda came up to me. Okay, she was out one day and she's seen her husband Tim with Katie and this one girl in the church. So every time he'd leave, she'd follow him. She came up to me at church and said, I was following him again. I got caught. I think they thought it was you. I'm sorry. Be careful. I'm like, great, thanks. Well, by Sunday, he needed to get rid of me, so he made up that baby lie of faking you were sick. 6 months later, after a traffic accident I had nothing to do with. Oh, and the Vegas were not grieving so bad that they couldn't go on vacations. Like several weeks to a month. They got all that inheritance money from her father dying. Her sister Rhonda, her brother-in-law Joe, bought herself a big truck, went on vacations too. They were vacationing it. So 6 months, it's not like they couldn't leave their home. Hmm? 6 months later, like September 18th, 24, my car spotted by the police. One of my client's neighbors up in Akron at 8:30 in the morning was over there talking. Boy, that agent needs to get his facts straight before he puts his name on anything. It was a medication error made her sick before. Why did they wait 15 years? Well, when Strange thought, he said, I actually went over and talked to him. When Strange thought she was following Tim and Katie, he ordered her to be killed in '03. And if they were to try to kill her, and if it didn't work, they were to have her destroyed. They've been planning this since 2003. That agent needs to get his facts straight. Before he puts his name on it, he needs to get his facts straight. They've been planning this since 2003. You tell everyone you know not to say a word to her. Okay? Now you got to think about this. I had nothing to do with that accident. Like my one neighbor, she said, Karen, it's insanity. Somebody saying something mean about you. And you had nothing to do with that traffic accident 6 months before. It's a half a year. Why would that family even care? Had nothing to do with them. Because they were using it to manipulate people. They weren't even connected. Not even connected. Think about that. It's insanity. Oh, teenagers even out in the mall. The FBI let all that happen to her. They didn't help her no matter what. They should have helped her. That family just wanted to hurt someone, so they picked out her. She had nothing to do with it. Exactly. You should have been swearing at them like an adult and put them in their place. What the fuck are you doing involved in this? Exactly. But instead, I've met with that family in my office and all those church people, and I know they're trying to kill you because the strangest lie of faking you are sick and faking you got well while that family was grieving. They weren't still grieving. They were vacationing at Honey. Now, 6 months later, half a year, had nothing to do with them. And it took me 9 months to get well. And pulling myself up and down streets, stores, and malls. Learning to walk on numb feet as the swelling slowly left. Now, I said I really was sick before, you liar. Was there a camera above the bench when you heard that guy's voice? I said, I don't know. You say a liar, I'll put you in jail. I'm like, what? And he starts screaming how he's going to arrest me. I'm like, fine, whatever. What did he confess to? He was aiding and abetting. Conspiracy to commit murder and attempted murder. And he had told everyone. Then he said, I want you to say you were faking you were sick before. Well, that's ridiculous. I almost died. I said, I really was sick before. Goes back to I met with that family in my office. All those church people. I know they're trying to kill you. He was to arrest them for trying to kill me. By federal law. He broke the law. On a recorded line. I know they're trying to kill you because you were faking you were sick and faking you got well while that family was grieving. He said, you need to realize what you done, and I don't blame him for trying to kill you. He actually says that. Like people said, I listened to the recorder line, almost fell out of my chair. He actually says it. Then he makes fun of me for that drug dealer Pete, how I don't know how he's scamming me. Makes me beg for my life and then lists me a foreigner. He confesses he knows everything. Mocking me how I don't know. It's sick and it's satanic. Find out that guy Pete I've never met is a drug dealer running a drug scam. Because then he goes on, he even asked me if I ever talked to any law enforcement. And I told him only 2 cops I've ever talked to with a light in the security system. On August 8th of 18 showed up And they told me it looked like an alien or angry spirit and told me to buy a dog. Let a dog out. They don't want bothered. And he's yelling, why would the FBI help a person like you? Well, they're going to try to kill me. So. They have tried to kill me. So. Another one yells out, we could always use peace, tape a word with yourself. The shower scene, the other. I've never met him. And it's photoshopped. Confessed several times through the case they photoshopped it. Made fun of the FBI June 7th, 23, sold videos of it. I said, what are you talking about? He's talking about my rapist. And where Dave hired Pete on his own, a drug dealer. I'm running a drug scam. He says something else, and now I've never talked to him. It's one of my black and blue marks where I come in and take a drink in the room and go dizzy and black. Wake up with bruises, throwing up, heart racing, and infected. Or wake up with injection marks. They're fake sodium pentothal reports, the amnesia drugs. And don't ever act like you have never heard of the saying of stoned out of your mind. Roofies. Amnesia drugs. Don't act incompetent. Never heard of LSD, acid, or any other illicit drugs, let alone there's over 20 prescription drugs that make you sleepwalk in high doses. They roofied my neighbor Mike in the barn. He told everybody he was an astronaut and was trying to tell me he was a New York cop. He's stoned out of his mind, wide awake. No memory of it. Did it to a Marshall's kid twice, my coworker Dar, and she was taken and raped. No memory. It's satanic them doing that to people. The cartel playing with people like that. And laughs at me how I don't know another scam of a doctor selling people's information. Your doctor can never even testify against you. HIPAA violations. Right to privacy. Some guy impersonating a doctor. I thought it was the other lady that stole my insurance years ago and ran up all kinds of medical bills. And I thought, well, maybe that's one of hers. Because half my medical records for 15 years are hers. And here it's just a scam. HIPAA violations, they ever talk to you about you without your consent, it's 1 to 5 years and a $250,000 fine. You can sue them for $1 million. You make me a rich woman. It's just a scam. I said, what are you talking about? Stop, she don't know. And he's laughing at me like a jackass. That's why they made a fool out of him. June 7th, 23, FBI agent John fell for the stunt at T-54. Oh, come on now. It was only a stunt. You're kidding. You mean FBI agent John fell for the stunt at T-54? That were only a stunt? Is that what's going on? Name and title and cackle in Walmart 62 like the Stark County Sheriffs. We all know they made fun of Agent John for falling for this. This whole thing is a mess. Made a public fool out of the FBI. They made fun of everybody. November 18th, 22, how they fell for their stunt tapes before. They were done for a stunt for people to turn on me. They fell for it, mocking them in Walmart 62. Mocked them again, what was it, March 20th, 24. How they made everything up on me. They made up retired Judge Pete. Went to a party, made fun of everybody, how they made fools out of everyone. June 23rd to July 4th of 23. They admitted since the first month of the case, some little old white man showed up at Woodforest, woke up with another bruise on my leg, showed up for every idle word you tell on us, I'll turn on you, you try to leave Dave, I'll list you a child molester. I'm like, who are you? You know that bruise on your leg, I used sodium pentothal on you, and I was sick that morning, I had a big mark on me. He stabbed me in my sleep again. And something about wearing some nightgown, bending over improperly, and accidentally seeing my butt in a life of pain. I'm like, dear God, where'd you get that? Had Dave to debunk it. I was dressed modestly, and they only seen the back of my knees. He made up the whole scenario. People would come up and laugh in my face. They drugged you and told you to say weird on Monster stuff. I'm like, dear God. They drugged you and told you to say you hurt people. Dear God, you're a flasher. They told you to say this, they told you to say that. Like it's funny, drug dealers roofing drinks, stabbing you with drugs, and telling you to say stuff and beating, raping you in your own home and selling you on porn sites and photoshopping, washing. People have been acting like damn fools for the cartel. Hmm? He even asked me if I ever caught Dave with, or if I knew if Dave was cheating. I said I never caught him with anyone. He starts laughing with the other guy. She said she never caught him with anyone. Why is that funny? Because it's not. I taped Dave December 9th of 18 that I've never caught him with anyone. He even admitted, I've never caught him with anyone. Put it up on Facebook, honey, too. Never caught him with anyone. So if you've never caught him with anyone, there'd be no one to threaten. Plus, I don't waste my breath. Huh? And if these people wouldn't have got involved, what would have been the difference? David still be in the United States. He really wanted a divorce. He would have paid a little more alimony. I may have got my puppies where he threw them in a dog pound when he fled the country. Didn't even make sure they got a good home. Threw everything he owned away in life. Gave up that house and fled the country forever. You know, he only made $40,000. We paid $195,000 for that house. He sold it for $240,000. He only owed it for 5 years. You don't even touch the balance at that point. He had to pay a realtor, closing cost, and probably had to pay for any repairs they wanted done. He'll be lucky if he made 20 grand. I wonder if the cartel wanted that house, because there was a group of drug dealers on the other side of the duplex before the shooting night of Christmas of 18. The cartel, did anybody connected to Michelle, the drug dealers, by that house? Because if they did this to get that house. It's a perfect location. It's right off Route 18, right next to 14 that goes up to Route 80, right off of Route 5, right off of Route 76, close to 77, junction down 225 to Route 62. There's so many ways in and out of Ohio by highways connected to that little place in the middle of nowhere. There's like highway junctions real close to everything. It's a perfect place out in the middle of nowhere. And no street lights. Half the time there's no street lights in giant woods and countrysides. It's beautiful, actually. I picked it out. Dave didn't want to live there. That's why this whole thing is sad. I thought it was beautiful. The park benches along Ravenna Street, the trash cans, the globes, lights, and town reminded me of the falls. I grew up near Niagara Falls. It reminded me of a little country town where we used to go on vacations in Virginia. And all the farms and fields, and then the big trees, it just reminded me of West Virginia. I thought it was beautiful. I picked it out. You know what, Lizzie? I picked it out. It was supposed to be our retirement home. We were married 33 years. 34 time it was over. We would have been married 40 years this year. And he fled the country. You know, him involving himself in all these crimes. I still can't believe he did. He just wanted to cheat. He could have left me. He would have still had his $110,000 worth of jobs or more. That big home. Paid a little more alimony. he still would have had his kids, his grandkids, his friends, his church. But no, he fled the country forever, never to return. The U.S. Marshals showed up and started arresting the drug cartel. I met with my friend January 20th, 23. I have a friend in the police department, and I'm looking at all these guys. I thought they're not my guys. Because the police, undercover police, I recognize a lot of them been around me. And I thought you brought your police department. No, he brought the U.S. Marshals. They know about the case that agent opened with you. They knew about the Texas group involved in your case. And I'm like the Kingsman because we all work for the King from Texas. We always met. Dave hired us. He's a drug lord. And then they were talking about a retired judge there involved in this. And they went down and questioned me, killed himself. There's another retired judge involved in the human trafficking scam. They'd say what state. They found 35 people tied up in a railroad car, African American people. They were just taking them and shooting them. And they're going to use that case, that agent opened with you, to get these drug traders, human trafficking people. You have so much hurt and pain in your eyes. And then he drills me, till I'm stuttering. I walk outside, they follow me out. We're the U.S. Marshals, and we're going to take care of this. That agent left her there. Can you imagine? He left her there. He said he left her there because she's weird with herself. Who would care who she was? And it was probably them and not her. Oh, it was them and not her. And he lied to your face. You need to arrest him for that. They already confessed they photoshopped it. From 18 and 19, they said they photoshopped all their lies. They made everything up on me. They drugged me and told me say it. To January 19, they photoshopped a feminine wipey above the toilet to make me look weird. To all kinds of drugs and told us say all kinds of crazy crap. They even said they photoshopped all their lies. May 25th, 21, 8, 9, 21. January 19th, 22, and February 2nd, 22 are drugs and told us say it before. To November 1st or 3rd of 21, December 9th, 21 at the one apartment, and then the guy at the task force the same day of everything being them and not me, and it's just a bunch of men doing crimes down here, and they made everything up on me. To March 24th, 22, that they had framed me. March 1st or 3rd of 21, they put two clips together, put her in a porn. It's not her, it's them. They even confessed they had nothing on me. March 13th, 21 at Mercy Medical, they told the nurse the only thing they had on me was brushing off water with clothes on. They didn't have anything else. January of 22, a ladies group came down. We made a big mistake being in her home. She's never said she did anything wrong before. They said that through the whole case. And when she simply wiped off the water with clothes on, she went straight down, didn't expose herself, as if anybody would care about that. And those people raped her. To February or March of 22 in Navarre. My client's neighbor, the next door neighbor in the White House, they told her to order everything to be drugged, photoshopped, and made up on me. May 12th, 22 and May 26th, 22 of the shower scene in the other room, and the shower scene was done on purpose to make you look weird. So when it comes to January 20th, 23, they already confessed. And then this one guy, Eric, part of the drug dealers, November 18th, 22, all the tapes before were me and not her. It was my idea to come up with it, my idea to do it, my idea to say it. For all these people to turn on, they fell for it. Well, it was only you, I could take care of it. I know it's that bad, and they still fell for it. To Christmas Eve of 22, I confront Danny and Jen. I said, did you know anything about that jackass, Eric, saying that stuff? No. I said, do you know where they kicked in my door to the wall on the 6th day? Yes. Dave said it was another realtor passing out keys. Yes. I said, did you know about button cameras? No. Did you know about a shower scene in the other room to make me look weird? No. I said, do you remember the orange, lemon, and grapefruit sized bruises all over me? Yes. I almost passed out even in front of the neighbor by the second week. Yes. Did you know they were drug and beating me and tell me to say weirdo stuff? No, I thought you were working too hard and bruising too easy. I didn't think about it. Kids came out of the room and hugged me, Grandma, and we didn't know. So when it came to January 20th of 23, he flat out lied to him. The villain's already confessed, made fun of people. In detail, confessed. Cops had taped him. It's documented and verified I was framed before, and it was a drug cartel in my home before. I would literally take a drink out of a 2-liter Diet Coke in the room and go dizzy and black, and hours later I come to. What on earth? I must have worked too hard. What's wrong with me? Feel like I'm gonna throw up. Dizzy, almost ready to pass out. Ow, I don't remember bringing my arm or leg and my muscle. Do you know how bad it hurts to be beat like that? To have bruises? No memory. Wake up with injection marks and more bruises and so severely infected. In my personal area, it hurt till you'd almost scream when you peed. I had to go into the doctor. I got all these bruises on me. Did you fall? No. I don't even know where they came from, and my muscles are killing me. Maybe you're becoming anemic. Iron pills, muscle relaxers, stuff for headaches, nauseousness, and pills and creams for a severe personal infection. Here I'm being human trafficked out of that house under drugs with no memory. Mike, my neighbor, he got roofied at a bar. Showed up outside my apartment when I went to walk out. He didn't know I got home. I'm like, go sleep it off. What do you remember? The second beer, go sleep it off. You don't understand. He's pulling money out of his pocket. I don't even know where it came from. Tell him check his bank. He's like, well, I took 100 out, but what was in the box with mustard? How did I change my shoes? Had no memory from the second beer. It's like I don't know what's wrong with me. I realized they roofied him. I'm like, go sleep it off. He's like, I used to be a New York cop and you're pretty. I'm like, go sleep that off. He's stoned out of his mind. He told me later on that he had went back down to that bar and he told people in the bar he was an astronaut. During the second beer, he started talking crazy. I could have told him say or do anything. He never remembered. He didn't even remember telling me he was a New York cop. He laughed and laughed when I told him that. Thought it was a hilarious thing. He had no memory. They did it to a Marshall's kid. She said she took a drink at a Jersey's, the bar, and went dizzy and black. Don't know what happened to her the whole night. Went to another bar. Ordered a drink. Same thing happened. She ended up in the hospital. Don't even know how she got out of the bar. Or sleepwalking. My coworker Dar went to a bar and she took a drink and her friend says she acted a little happy. Nothing out of the unusual, was talking and acting fine. A group of people came up and she left with him, found herself in a puddle pee, got home, she's throwing up. She found out 2 months later she was pregnant. And she's arguing with the doctor, I've not had sex with anybody, how could I be pregnant? They had raped her and redressed her. Me and her have almost, I only remember 3 things before that. The sound of marching, a white man's arm, white shirt, gray thin pinstripe giant needle coming at me. I thought it was a nightmare. In the room going black. I remember screaming at the top of my lungs, feeling like my back's being ripped open to my sternum and every cell in my body screaming in agony until all I could hear is my screams of horror and nothing attached to it. She told me she has one memory of screaming at the top of her lungs and hearing herself scream and nothing attached to it. Pretty close. Now you think it's funny drugging somebody up so they don't know what can't remember what they did to you and harming somebody that had something wrong with you and playing with human beings. I talked to the police. They all know about this day rape amnesia drugs, known about them for years. They call them mind controlling drugs. And they can drug you until you say do anything. And everything can be photoshopped. No law enforcement fall for a drug scam from drug dealers like this. I never seen or talked to anyone. I never even had anybody in my home. People make fun of me. And for God's sakes, why I look at them like, are you crazy? Drug dealers did this. I've had teenagers say that the police have told them, how would you like this to happen to you? Don't say a word to her. To find out some serial rapist had been playing with you like that. You never seen or talked to anybody. I thought the well water was killing me. And do you realize how sick Dave is to let other men harm you like that? They admitted they were taping in the bathroom. They laughed at me. They sold my grandkids on kiddie porn sites. And I had weirdos laugh that I was on porn sites. They showed them videos of them raping and torturing me and everything else. The FBI ought to be ashamed of itself. They still owe me the money for working the case. I need to tell my kids I'm the only parent they got left. Officer Mark and Officer John, you cannot disrespect me. And the other police that worked my case. In May of 2024, just last year, I sent buyers with me and they said it's ridiculous for anybody to ever insult her. She almost died to save children. And they always knew that those stocking tapes were a backup plan if she didn't die. They already knew that they drugged her and told her to say it before. And that weird with yourself, it was a photoshopping of showering. And that they had did it trying to extort money or things from her if she didn't die. They already knew it was a backup plan. So what is wrong with you when the police already even told people? They knew it. How many times have the police even told you it's documented I was framed by the drug cartel? And it was a cartel doing it. They even told people not to say anything. That I've never even met the man that did it. He's still out there and he's a serial rapist. They even refer to him as an old drug dealer from Ravenna and a serial rapist. The U.S. Marshals used the case, and after they left, they did an 800 people sweep where the FBI talks about their mega case of a countrywide human trafficking scam. We're a piece of it. People have just been acting stupid. Where investigators say we all know her case is a nationwide human trafficking scam. All the cartels were around me, breaking their crimes, laughing in my face like they were unstoppable. Under police surveillance with a quarter, if they wanted someone inside, take one of their victims they're abusing, list them an informant with money and immunity and a quarter for so-called protected custody, bug their phone with a quarter, their car, their homes, and let them abuse the hell out of them. I'll tell you what, satanic, but effective. They've got thousands. They've saved hundreds of people. My neighbor because he seen the drug cartel at Faith Family Church tell people they were FBI working my case. Went down and talked to him, and one of the men they saved was down there. He got to meet him. Really told me, you need to be proud of what you lived through. Because of what you lived through, you helped save a lot of lives. We got all this information on these people because of what you lived through. You need to be proud. Then you want to say, why wasn't I wasn't safe? Not saying that when I was in stores and stuff, the cops chased the cartel off because they didn't and I wouldn't be alive. But I almost died several times. I was human trafficked in protective custody. I was raped. I was tortured. I got stabbed in the neck, bashed in the head, beat, raped, and left for dead. Had to hide on a shooting night where other people got killed and crippled. I faced 6 daughters. I was drugged till I lost 70 pounds. When I leave my home, the cartel would laugh in my face who they were for, what crimes they were committing. All caught under police surveillance. Like when I was in a different county, I seen a couple of sheriffs. They said in that Karen's will, the one we're all supposed to keep an eye on if we see her. Or there's a group of Freemasons caught with the human traffickers under a police surveillance with a quarter. Oh boy, I can't wait to look her up. My God, are they going to get their eyes full? And like they said, with the way the case that agent opened, it's a protected custody with threat of life with statements and a quarter. It stands up in court without her because it's police surveillance with a quarter. They don't even need her. The police were taping with a quarter for protected custody statements. And they confessed to crimes. And did crimes in front of them and who they were for. How stupid and arrogant were they around here. But they didn't think they were stoppable. Like they told Ed, all the tapes before were them and not her. And it's just a bunch of men doing crimes down here to see if someone will actually stop them. The December 9th, 21, 4 p.m. And earlier that day, there was a white man bald with dark eyes at distributing food at the Stark County Hunger Task Force on 9th Street. He was actually one of my guards. Came out and said, we always knew the tapes before were them and not her. So we never said a word like those cops said in Walmart. We always knew everything was photoshopped and drugged on her. What do you mean an FBI agent lied to the U.S. Marshals? We already knew that. The weird with yourself was a shower scene of washing, photoshopped in the other room, and that they had drugged her and told her to say it before. We already knew that. And what do you mean an agent lied to the Marshals? The Marshals need to take care of it